What happens when two late-night giants collide, in front of a live crowd, and one refuses to back down, from the most awkward interview ever aired? You're about to find out, because the clash between Conan O'Brien and Jimmy Kimmel on Jimmy Kimmel Live became a TV legend, for all the wrong reasons. Before we unpack this total disaster, hit that subscribe button, and drop a comment below, because you'll want to talk about this career-shaking moment. It started when Conan O'Brien strolled onto the Jimmy Kimmel Live set, with his classic swagger, red hair perfectly tousled, in a sleek navy suit that screamed high-end. The audience roared, thrilled to see the ex-Tonight Show host, now a podcast titan. Jimmy Kimmel, behind his desk, flashed a smile, but something seemed off, a touch too tight. "Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Conan O'Brien," Jimmy announced, with his polished TV charm. Conan crossed the stage, long strides eating up the floor, waving before slumping into the guest chair, relaxed, confident. "Jimmy, thanks for having me," Conan said, tweaking his tie with that quirky energy fans loved. "Though, your green room coffee tastes like it was filtered through a sweaty gym bag, left in a trunk for a month." The crowd laughed. Jimmy grinned. Everything felt normal, classic Conan wit. But Jimmy's reply had a slight edge. "Well, we save our budget for bigger things, like keeping the lights on every season." The jab landed, a beat too sharp. Conan's smile flickered, barely noticeable, but the vibe shifted. The audience chuckled, missing the undercurrent. "Ouch. Renewal jitters," Conan said, his tone light but probing. "I remember those days, back when network bosses actually answered my calls. Funny how that changes." Jimmy leaned back, fingers tapping his desk, a touch too fast. "Some of us roll with the punches, find ways to stay in the game, instead of, say, hiding out in podcasts." The word, podcasts, dripped with just enough shade, to signal it wasn't primetime in Jimmy's eyes. Conan's brows arched, that telltale sign he'd caught the dig. "Hiding," he echoed, drawing out the word. "I call it picking a place, where I can speak freely, without some exec whining about my sponsor-friendly jokes." "Must be nice," Jimmy shot back, his TV grin stiffening, voice sharpening. "Some of us have real jobs, people counting on us, actual stakes." The audience's laughter faded, replaced by uneasy murmurs. These weren't friendly late-night zingers, this was something raw, crackling between them. Conan shifted, his lanky frame. "I recall someone cozying up to network suits, while others were out there taking real chances with their Jimmy's smile slipped, revealing a harder edge. "Chances. Like getting handed The Tonight Show, then tanking it in half a year." The studio went silent, the crowd sensing private grudges spilling onto public airwaves. "Handed." Conan's voice dropped, a dangerous quiet. "You really wanna go there, Jimmy?" "Because I earned that gig. Grinding 15 years writing, performing, not riding someone else's coattails to a network slot." Jimmy's face flushed, his polished host mask cracking. "At least I didn't crash so hard. I became a warning label for what happens when you're in over your head." The gloves were off. What started as banter had turned personal, vicious. Conan straightened, his height suddenly commanding. "Over my head," he repeated, voice low, icy. "Let's talk skills, Jimmy. Who writes their own jokes, and who leans on a team to fake every off-the-cuff moment?" "Everyone has writers," Jimmy snapped, his TV charm gone, raw anger surfacing. "The difference is, some of us know how to play nice, instead of burning every bridge we cross." "Burning bridges." Conan's voice rose, his Irish edge cutting through. "That's bold, from a guy whose own crew has whispered plenty about what a terror you were off camera." The studio froze. This wasn't entertainment, it was a public dismantling. Jimmy stood, his chair screeching across the floor, the sound jarring in the silence. "We're done here, Conan." But Conan stayed seated, eyes locked on Jimmy, a mix of fury and something like regret. "Oh, we're just warming up, because someone needs to call out the fake nice guy routine you've been running for years." "Fake?" Jimmy demanded, voice sharp, hands braced on his desk, knuckles white. What are you getting at, Conan? Spit it out. Conan rose, his height towering over Jimmy, even with the desk between them. The lights caught the fire in his eyes. I'm not hinting, Jimmy. I'm saying it plain. You've built a career, playing the lovable everyman, while everyone in this business knows the real you. The cameras kept rolling, despite frantic signals from the control room. The audience sat stunned, torn between awe and unease, as two comedy titans ripped each other apart. The real me, Jimmy sneered, sarcasm dripping. Please, Conan, share your wisdom, tell us all who I am. Conan stepped closer, his presence dominating. You want details. Let's talk how you treat your writers, the ones who've bailed because you hogged their credit, while treating them like props. Jimmy's face reddened, his host facade crumbling. You're clueless. My writers are paid well, respected. Are they? Conan pressed, voice rising. Then why did 3 of your top writers jump to Colbert's show last year? Why did your lead writer quit, after you chewed him out in front of everyone, over a flubbed punchline? The accusation hung heavy. Jimmy's jaw worked. No words coming. The crowd stayed silent, knowing they were seeing something unforgettable. That's way out of line, Jimmy finally said, voice shaking, barely holding it together. You don't know squat about my team, or how I run things. I know plenty, Conan countered, gaining steam. I know about your backroom rants, trashing other hosts, while grinning at them at galas. I know how you've schemed, to edge out anyone you see as a threat. Jimmy slammed his hand on the desk, the crack echoing like a shot. Enough. You come on my show, and attack me like this. This is my turf, Conan. Your turf. Conan's laugh was cold, cutting. Jimmy, this isn't your kingdom. It's a network set they could swap you out from tomorrow, if your numbers dip. Don't kid yourself, thinking hosting equals owning. The jab hit hard. Jimmy's face flashed shock, then pain, then raw fury. At least I've still got a show, not scraping by on podcasts, for whatever fans I can still find. There it is, Conan said, voice chillingly soft. The real Jimmy Kimmel, the guy who can't stand anyone succeeding, without kissing up to the suits. The guy so insecure, he's gotta tear everyone else down. Jimmy rounded the desk, dropping any pretense of hosting, the two now face to face. Conan looming over him, the tension ready to snap. Insecure, Jimmy hissed, voice trembling. You're the one who buckled, under tonight's show pressure, replaced by someone who could actually deliver. The Tonight Show dig, sliced deep. Conan's face paled, the old wound raw. You wanna drag that up, he said, voice low, dangerous. Because I remember someone, circling like a shark, ready to profit off other people's stumbles. What's that mean? Jimmy demanded, but a flicker in his eyes hinted he knew. It means you're a scavenger, Jimmy, Conan said, each word a hammer. You've made a career, pouncing on others' failures, acting like you don't see it, but we all do. Jimmy flinched, the accusations hitting hard, his emotions cycling fast, too fast to hide. You're just bitter. Your prime was 20 years ago, and you can't handle that some of us kept climbing. Climbing, Conan scoffed, contempt thick. You call that climbing? Looks more like you've become the desperate suit you used to mock, clawing to stay in the spotlight. Jimmy stepped closer, faces inches apart now, the stage crackling with rage. At least I'm still in the game, people care what I say. When's the last time anyone under 30 knew you, without a history lesson? The blow was cruel, aimed at Conan's core. For a second, he looked staggered, but then his eyes hardened, voice turning icy. You're right, Jimmy, I'm not chasing trends, or begging for likes, to prove I'm still here. I'm not terrified that if I pause for a second, people'll see I've got nothing left to say. That's bold, Jimmy snarled, from a guy whose podcast is just a lifeline, because no network would touch him again. My podcast's my choice, Conan said, voice steady, eyes burning. I don't need execs, approval, or focus groups, or ratings to sleep at night. I don't grovel for sponsors, or tiptoe around their feelings. I just get to be funny. Must be nice, Jimmy mocked, venom dripping. Failing up into a gig with no stakes, no accountability. Conan's laugh cut sharp, no warmth. Fail up. I've been in comedy since you were still figuring out a camera's lens. I've written shows, hosted shows, built shows, made millions laugh, without selling my soul, or stabbing backs. Soul. Jimmy's voice hit a shout. You wanna talk soul? What about keeping your word? What about not trashing your old bosses, every chance you get? I kept my word, Conan fired back, fierce. I did my job, gave everything. When the network flipped, I walked away with more class than you'd ever muster in my shoes. The fight was white hot. Both men center stage, flinging years of grudges, the crowd silent, gripped by the chaos. Class. Jimmy laughed, bitter, disbelieving. You milked your exit, with sly digs at NBC, playing the martyr for clout. Martyr. Conan's voice boomed, his cool gone. I was screwed. Jimmy promised a job, took it in good faith, then shoved out, because the network chickened out. But I didn't spend years whining, or wrecking others' careers for revenge, unlike some. Unlike me, Jimmy spat, heavy with accusation. You're saying I'm out to ruin people, because I'm still here, and you're not. You said it, Conan replied, voice sharp. I didn't fail, Jimmy. I was kneecapped. Thrived, found my own way, without groveling to every exec in town. Jimmy flung his hands up, exasperated. Here we go, blaming the big bad network. Maybe, just maybe, you didn't have what the audience wanted. Audience. Conan's laugh was raw, biting. Jimmy, you wouldn't know an audience's pulse if they shouted it in your face. You're too busy pulling every joke, chasing X metrics, you forgot how to just be funny. The insult struck deep. Jimmy's face hardened, resolve cold. You know what, Conan? This interview's over. Now you wanna quit, Conan taunted, voice thick with disdain. The second someone calls out your game, you wanna run. Classic Jimmy. Jimmy faced the camera, forcing a shaky grin. Folks, we'll be right back, after a quick break. No break, Conan cut in, stepping between Jimmy and the lens, voice firm. We're finishing this. This is my show, Jimmy growled, teeth clenched. I say when we cut. Your show. Conan's voice had a lethal edge. This stopped being your show, when you made it a grudge match. This is something else now. Jimmy's eyes darted. Desperate, landing on the stage manager, slicing his hand across his throat to signal a stop. Security. Jimmy called, voice cracking. I need security up here. The word stunned the room. Conan stared, disbelief etched on his face. Security. You're calling security on your guest. You're out of control, Jimmy said, but his voice wavered, weak. You're hostile. I've got a duty to my crew, my audience. Conan's laugh was hollow, bitter. Duty. Your only duty is to your own ego, Jimmy. You started this, and now that it's slipping, you're hiding behind guards. Two burly men in suits edged onto the stage, uneasy but following orders. The audience watched, frozen, as the bizarre scene unfolded. Gentlemen, Jimmy said to the guards, voice trembling. Please show Mr. O'Brien out. Conan eyed the guards, then Jimmy, his face shifting from rage to something like pity. This is really it, Jimmy. This is who you wanna be. Just go, Jimmy said, quiet now, his earlier fire dimming, tinged with shame. Conan stood tall, commanding the room one last time. Fine, Jimmy, I'll leave, not because you're tossing me out, but because I can't stomach being near someone who's become everything wrong with this business. He turned to the camera, voice steady, charisma blazing. Folks, thanks for seeing what happens when someone finally speaks truth in this town. It's been enlightening. The guards stepped closer, but Conan raised a hand. I've got this. Been walking outdoors longer than you've been breathing. He strode toward the exit, long legs eating up the stage. Jimmy's voice trailing, weak. This stays here, Conan. Conan paused at the edge, turning back, eyes cold. Jimmy, this went out live, to millions. It's already everywhere. With that, he vanished into the wings, leaving Jimmy alone, staring at a crowd, whose shocked faces mirrored his unraveling. The silence was crushing, only the faint hum of gear and control room whispers breaking it. Jimmy's mouth moved, but no sound came, until he croaked. "We'll be right back." But everyone knew, no ad break could fix this, no spin could erase it. This was a moment that defined careers, exposed truths, and burned bridges for good. What did you make of this brutal showdown? Ever seen two stars clash this raw on live TV? Drop your thoughts below, and subscribe for more inside scoops on entertainment's wildest moments.